Hey everyone, welcome to Stuff I Never Learned from the Schoolbook. If you're looking at me, it must be Monday, 7 p.m. Right here in Central Time Zone, 8 o'clock Eastern, 6 on the Mountain Time, 5 on Pacific, 2 out in Hawaii, 6 a.m. tomorrow out in Indonesia, and anywhere between 9 a.m. and noon tomorrow out in Australia. Welcome everybody, welcome to the show. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Tom Springer, and I am the host of Stuff I Never Learned from a Schoolbook. If you're on your way back, welcome back. As always, we do have on a wonderful guest. And I'm just going to bring on Susanne right now. So everyone say hello to Miss Susanne. Hi, Susanne.
Hi, Tom.
How are you?
I'm fabulous.
So I already have on, so since I figured out how to say her name completely, a lot of people call her Mary, but I can actually say Uilani Ku'ule now. So that is Uilani Ku'ule saying hello from Hawaii. So,
hello. Aloha.
So when you hear me do the time zones, it's because that's where everyone normally watches from. So that's how my introduction came about, is because everyone's kind of listening in from all over the place. Hi, Jolene. How are you today? And there's Miss Sandy saying hello to both of us. Hello. So I normally like to tell people how you and I met. And so I went to... In fact, Nikki and I just this last Saturday went to something that's called Mystic Fest that's out here in Omaha, Nebraska. And last year is when I met you the first time at Mystic Fest. And you and I got to talking, and our energies just kind of resonated. And I hounded you and drove you nuts to come onto my show for the last year. And so I got you on. It's fantastic. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so everyone knows what's coming. My audience knows me very well. So they know that the question I'm going to ask you first is, how did you get started? What brought you into what you do? And what do you do?
Okay, perfect. Well, thanks for having me. It's a joy to be here. Hello, everybody. So I am a intuitive, but I'm a certified healing touch practitioner, which is, if you don't know what that is, it's similar to Reiki, but it is the only energetic modality that's accredited by the American Nursing Association. And my certification came about a couple years ago, and I was working a full-time job outside of this kind of holistic work. And once my client base built up, I've quit my regular job, and this is what I do full time. And so I started with the healing touch, and I'm also a certified hypnotherapist. I'm as well as a medium and an intuitive. So I do tarot readings, I do psychic readings, and I am a medium. So I'll connect with spirit on the other side. And I guess my story goes back to, I've always been interested in the metaphysical world. Do you remember, like, Tom, when you were in grade school and they would do those reading things they would send home where you could pick out the books and things like that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So the books I used to pick out in that were like Finding Bigfoot and all of the, the little magazine things. Instead of like real books, I would want to find the mysterious ones. And so I've always been kind of fascinated with paranormal and the unknown and those mysteries and the magic behind all of that. But life got busy for me a few years back. I had a couple kids and went through a couple marriages and things like that. And when I was kind of at the lowest point in my life, I needed to find who I was again. I kind of lost that, just through some choices and decisions that I had placed myself in. And I really wanted to figure out, what made me tick and why I made choices the way I did and why my brain worked in the way it did. So I started going back to the things that I knew I needed to do to kind of heal some of the old traumas and things that had happened with me. I started using cards, little angel cards, and remembering that part of me that kind of knew what I liked and what I didn't like. And so then I started with the Reiki. I became a Reiki master, and I wanted something a little deeper in the energy work. I felt like I needed something that gave me a a deeper spiritual connection. And I'd had an energy session with someone who was a certified healing touch practitioner. And I knew that moment that I needed to learn how to do that. And so I went about my journey learning how to do healing touch. And it's been an amazing ride with that. I found a lot of healing for myself. I found where I needed to do the work to understand my own self through the healing touch. And then when I have clients in here on my table, I would find that I could do the energy work with them and they would leave here feeling great, but they would go back home and get back into their old job or into their environment in home again, and they wouldn't be able to hold that energy for long enough periods of time. So I wanted to study the mind more because I knew that the mind and the body needed to have a better connection. So then I started studying hypnosis and became a certified hypnotherapist so that I could combine both the hypnotherapy along with the energetic work through healing touch to help heal both. So I combine those modalities in my practice to kind of work with trauma, inner child stuff, and bring people back to this place where they can trust their own intuition and the choices that they're making through their life so that they can be happier.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Jason's saying that's awesome. His girl just got her Reiki masters recently.
Yes.
So that's very good. You know that Nikki went through, I believe, Reiki 1 and 2
Okay.
as well. And Jason, I got to apologize to Jason really quick because Jason's saying that my show's on right as the game is starting. But, they didn't call me to see if they should reschedule their game around my show. So that's their own fault because my show's been here for a little over a year. So that's on them.
Right.
So, but no, that's fantastic. And actually, while you were talking, I actually threw up your link right here. So this is the Internal Whispers.
Mm-hmm.
www.internalwhispers.com. If you go out to there, I actually have her page pulled up. And you'll notice it's a beautiful page, by the way, with the angel wings right across it. But there you have the mentoring, you have the healing touch, you talk about the hypnosis, the mediumship, the card reading, information about you as well, how to book information or book anything with you. And you also have your events and classes listed on there. And I was telling you before we came on the show, that I'm a little mad because one of your events you have coming up is one I would like to do, and it's actually your tarot card reading, introductory one, but it's on the day that I get back. But you have a lot of interesting ones on there, and I want to mention one, if it's okay. Sure. One of your events and classes that you're doing that I think a lot of people will find very helpful is you have a grief support monthly, and you're actually restarting that in September. Right. That is a free monthly support group. Mm-hmm.
It is.
For those who are grieving the loss of a loved one. So that is huge that you offer that. And so thank you for offering that, because I think that there's not enough. There's always the people who will do the readings, because you can do the mediumship to talk to the loved ones, but they don't grieve. They just talk, but they don't understand the grieving part. And by you introducing that, it is absolutely fantastic that you and Sue actually do that.
Sue Noel, yeah.
Yeah, Sue Noel actually do that.
So the reason I do that is in my practice, and I do the medium readings where I can help you connect with your loved ones. But of course, with every reading that I do, what I want to do is be able to teach each person that sits in front of me that we all have this capability to connect with our loved ones on an ongoing basis. You don't have to be a medium to keep your connection with the ones that have crossed into another realm.
Right.
And in order to have the ability to have clear understanding and to be able to hear some of those messages come through, you really do need to grieve. And so the process of grief is different for everyone, and there's no wrong way or right way to grieve, and there's no time frame for it. And there are a lot of wonderful groups or grief support groups, but I find that a lot of people have a difficult time going to those because there's what I understand with some people that are deep in their early stages of grief is it's hard for them to listen to other people's grief as well.
Right.
So our group is really for people that are at all different stages of their grief process, those that have had time pass with the loss of a loved one. They come on a regular basis. So someone that's, fairly new to the grief process, it's so wonderful to have others that have gone through some of the same stages to be able to be really supportive to the new people that come in. And it's, yeah. And I see Rosie talking about, especially when you're an empath, it can be really difficult to feel the feelings of those people that are deep in their grief process, especially early on. But once you've been through the processes, I have to tell you that most of my practice and what I do here is based on my own experiences. And I really feel that the way we can help our fellow humans in any line of work is based on the wisdom of our own experiences.
Right.
And so those who are grieving, to be in a room where there are others that have been where you're at, can be the most healing and beautiful process that I have the privilege of witnessing on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Because even though I work to help counsel and do therapeutic modalities here in my practice for those people who are encountering loss, there is nothing like another person who's just experienced something like that to help counsel and comfort someone who's experiencing that a new loss. So
yeah, I have been told that on numerous occasions I have been told that I am pretty soulless, and the reason why is because I don't grieve like anybody else. I don't. I mean, my mom passed away, and a while ago, but to me, it was just another step in life. So I didn't cry. I didn't go through a sadness period. I mean, I didn't do that. I mean, Nikki cried more for my mom, and she never met my mom, than I did. And I've done that with a lot of people in the past. When they pass, I just don't have that sadness in me like other people do. I don't grieve that way. So there's been a lot of times I've been told that I've been cold, I'm heartless, I'm soulless, whatever else. And I'm like, no, I just understand that this is just a stopover. This isn't anything. I mean, I'm sad they're gone and I'm not going to see them and stuff like that. But I completely understand a different side of it. So I think it hits me differently than it does others.
Yeah. And I truly believe that, just like we need help when we're have a newborn coming into the world, oftentimes we need help with us leaving the world as well. And I feel like I know that, like you, I agree with you that it's another step in this journey. Right. And we bring an end to this particular human experience. And I also feel like, our humanness doesn't have to suffer any longer. And so we move to another realm, but our loved ones don't leave us. They're omnipresent. They're always here.
And that's what so many people don't understand. They don't understand that there's still that connection, that we still have the ability to have them with us. I mean, it's very cliche for a lot of people to say, well, they're always in your heart, or they're always, but there's so much truth behind that. You just have to understand what is meant by that and how you can actually hear and speak with your loved ones even after they've passed. And so I don't think enough people understand that. So it's really good that you introduced that.
Yes. And I also understand the human aspect of the relationship with the people that we love, that we miss the touch and we miss the physical sensations of being physically with someone.
Right.
I do feel like we can have the same feelings based on a spiritual experience with them, but I do understand that. And I do feel like those people that start to embrace this idea that our loved ones are always with us, that does come in time. And I feel like I try not to judge anyone's pathway to their own healing for loss. They are where they're at. But what I like to do is just help to educate them that, they're here. They're here with us always. Exactly. All you have to do is connect your heart back to the memories, and they're right there with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And oftentimes, sometimes when we lose someone tragically, it's not just the physical loss of them, it's the trying to understand the human side of, why, and the tragedy of the particular loss, or sometimes it's a violent loss and those kinds of things too. So there's that whole concept of trying to wrap your head around those experiences as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So I kind of want to shift gears because there's something else you talk about so you and I have talked many times offline, just when we run into each other and stuff like that. And you know that I'm very, very, very lazy when it comes to practicing anything. I just don't do it. And I was going through your page again because I randomly go through this every once in a while. And you actually talk about on here, you talk about let me scroll down to it because it's on your page because I saw it on here. You talk about the fact that you deal with all the different chakras. You do a chakra class. And so, a lot of people know the 7 different chakras, but you touch on 12.
Yes.
And I was like, wait a minute, time out.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that there was a couple more, but there's 12.
Oh, there's a lot of chakras, but I work mainly with the 12, but we have lots of chakras, main chakras, and then we have lots of minor chakras throughout our body as well. But most people talk only about the 7 in-body chakras, right? But I do work in the 12. We have the 7 that we feel here, the root, the sacral, the 7 all the way up to the crown.
My rainbow colors.
Yep, those rainbow colors. And they're associated with the field of energy outside your body in the aura. Right. But we have the 8th chakra too, which is above our head, and the 9th, which is about a foot above that. And then the 10th chakra, which is, some people call it the Earth Star chakra. It's the one about a foot below your feet.
Okay.
And that is where I ground. So for anyone who's ever had an energy session with me, they know that one of the first things that I'm going to do is I'm going to ground you before we begin. So I'll place my palm on the bottom of the left foot. And I studied with Awakening Healing Access, and that we'll go there for a second after. We'll come around to that. But one of the things that I learned from them is that through that, we have a vivaxis. And what I mean by that, it's like an etheric cord that attaches us from our physical form etherically down into the roots, right? So way past. So when I ground someone, I feel like I need to ground them way past this Earth's energy, past the core of this particular planet, into the new Earth's energy, right? And into the new Earth's energy where the dirt is like that pure black dirt where you can really smell that really earthy. Right. And it's not contaminated in any way. But we ground you deeply through that etheric cord through the left foot. And I often connect with what I call the Vivaxin beings. And they're like angelic little beings that their only role is to keep that Vivaxin where it needs to be. And what I mean by that is when you were born and you incarnated into this lifetime and you drew that very first breath, your soul knew exactly what it was that you were going to do here. And your purpose and how you wanted to fulfill your lessons here. And the further we get away from that first breath, right, we forget.
Right. Yeah.
And so when I connect through that left foot, through this etheric cord with this 5-axis, it draws you back to that first breath. It brings you closer to that first breath each time. Nice. You're grounded through that so that you can, again, begin that awakening and that remembering of who you truly are. And so that's the one thing that I do through the 10th chakra and deeper. And then the 11th chakra, which is around.
Yeah.
And then it uses with your hands and your feet. And then the 12th is that egg shell. That's the etheric shell that's about your body.
Yeah, that's all new to me. Like I said, I knew about the 7. I knew about the crown, but then all of a sudden you're like, hey, look, let's add more. And I'm like, wait, what? So
So I have a class. I started in January, and each month we study deeply one chakra at a time, right? And so we started with the root chakra in January, and we just finished with the brow chakra, and next month in July we'll be working on the crown. And anyone's welcome to come, even if they haven't been here to participate in them. Just to have them send me a little direct message letting me know they're coming, because I give a lot of information and I print off a lot of stuff for you to take with. But with the chakra class, also, we talk a lot about the 12 rays of light. So the 12 rays are the hierarchical school of our soul's ascension process and how that is integrated in with the chakras.
Okay, so I will tell you, I don't know why, but I don't know what the 12 rays of light are.
Yeah, a lot of people don't have
But
that.
But I this is going to be so weird. But I don't even know. I can't even say if it was a dream now. But I have had something said to me about the 12 rays of light when I was asleep. And I didn't know what it meant. So it's interesting that you mentioned it, because it's probably been within the last month that I've heard 12 rays of light when I've been sleeping.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I'm wondering why that was brought up to me, but now I'm starting to see why. Lisa is asking if you're right here in Omaha.
I am in Omaha. My office is off 117th and West Center.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So really quick, Zacky's throwing up something too. He says, if you wear a weak or block chakra, or if you have a weak or block chakra, wear the color or eat foods that match said chakra.
That's true.
Outstanding.
Yes. Yes.
Zachy is my only person that comes to visit us from Twitch, by the way. So
I
appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, hey, BJ. But yeah, like I said, it was really weird though, because for some reason that has come up in my subconscious somewhere about the 12 rays of light. And I've never looked it up. I have no idea what it was, but yet you're talking about it right here on the show. So apparently maybe I should pay attention to it. So
yeah, you should. Because it's coming to you for a reason, right?
Right.
And we don't integrate the rays. Like, you can try to integrate one at a time, but most of the time to study the 12 rays, it can get a little complicated, and it's not an easy read. I'll just put that out there. But like I said, it's a hierarchical school basically of our souls. And right now, us humans are on the planetary level, which is the lowest level. It's the one furthest from the source's energy. So, we are down here. And so there's each ray of light is held by different ashrams, and it gets really complicated, but I could do a whole couple hours on just the rays. But when I integrate those rays, I just ask my team, my spiritual team, to whatever it is for today, whatever it is that I need through my meditation or through my sleep tonight, to integrate through those rays of light what it is that I need. And I just trust that I'll get what I need through that. And when I started integrating them, it would be crazy, because like not everything was always hunky-dory, right? When we go through periods of where we're learning and growing, sometimes it's not always easy, because some of those old stuff comes up for us to deal with and work through.
Yeah. Very true. I'm noticing that too.
Yeah.
So I want to answer something also. I want to answer Lisa really quick, but Nicole already answered it. But yes, you are here. You already answered this too. But that ties me to a question to, do you also do these? Are you also available for these events and these teachings and classes online?
I haven't ventured out that way, but my goal is to do that. Yeah. Through like Zoom teachings coming up.
Right.
So yes, I will be offering that coming up in the fall.
Oh, outstanding. Good. Because I know that you're here in Omaha. That's great for us here that lives around you. But for those who are watching and they're like, well, I want to be part of that class. And
Yeah.
so that's good that it's going to start coming up.
Yeah.
And it's going to start
So
expanding.
I'll probably have one to do the class twice a week, or twice a month, one online and one in person.
Okay.
I really love having in-person classes. I think they're really fun.
Yeah.
And I have a great space to do it in. So
yeah. And so that's fantastic like I said, for me, I get the benefit of just being down the road from you, but it's really going to be good for those that are watching and want to know more. And I would recommend everybody that, again, I just threw this up there, but I'm going to keep throwing it up there until you guys write it down and take advantage of it. The internal whispers right here. So I'm assuming, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that when you start doing the online, you will post it out on this site and say, hey, by the way, I'm going to have classes coming online and everything else. So folks, write this down, because if you want to be part of it, go ahead and write this down so you can see when it pops up and you're like, oh yeah, I can go do this too. Have a question.
Yes.
On your page, I read about your information. Plus, you've already talked about it tonight, your mediumship abilities. Mm-hmm. When did that come about for you? When and how was it? How was it learning that you could speak to or hear? I mean, were you young and you just didn't know how to deal with it, or how did it come about and how did you deal with it?
So it's an interesting thing. My beliefs are that we're all connected to the spiritual realm and that we can all do that work. I don't believe you have to be born a medium,
right?
In order to do that. I feel like spirit is omnipresent, and that sometimes we overcomplicate the connection that we can have to the spirit world, like just opening that connection and talking. I am still a student of mediumship, and I feel like I will forever be a student of mediumship. Yeah. I started studying, I think I took my first intuitive class. God, it's been a while ago. Probably about 8 or 9 years ago now. And there was more just kind of understanding the clairs and things like that. And then I took a introductory kind of mediumship class a few years back. But what happened to me was, through the energy work, I would be working with someone and I would just have this knowing that there would be a sense of a presence here with my clients that were on the table. Mm-hmm. And I would have this, I would get messages for them. And I always ask first my clients, if there's something, if we have a visitation with someone, or if I have a message, sometimes that does happen when I'm doing healing work. Are you open to receiving? Because I want to honor everybody's path.
Right.
And most people would say they're absolutely open. So I would be able to just visit with their loved ones and bring messages across. But I wanted to have a better understanding how I could find those connections faster and keep the links longer.
Right.
And manage it better, right? Because I would have what I felt like was a constant fatigue from being connected all the time. And so I started really studying that. And now, just based on what I understand, my team, my spiritual team really takes care of me. When I'm done working, I'm done working. So I don't get visitations very often at night unless it's necessary.
Right.
Right. But I have my boundaries about when I'm working and when I'm not working.
Yeah.
And it helps with the fatigue. So when I do like Mystic Fest shows and, doing back-to-back readings all day long, I need to replenish my energy for sure.
Right.
After 2 days full readings, one after another. But I know that when I was a child, I remember what I understand to be now, feeling the energy.
Right.
And spirits around my room. And of course, those weren't things that I talked about as a child, but I would be afraid. And as I grew older and started to understand energy more, I'm no longer ever afraid. I literally think it's magical.
Right. So, and this is something that I do my best not to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't open up in my house on
Yeah.
purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Are you the same way? Do you have like when you go to work or when you go somewhere, that's your place that you open up at, but your home is
Correct.
your sanctuary. So you're like, no,
Yes.
not here.
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
So I'm not
It
crazy.
wasn't always that way though.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but it's funny because every once in a while I'll sit here and especially when I'm on the show, someone just pushes their way in. And
Yeah.
they're like, look, I need to talk. And I'm like, okay, hold on a second. I'm doing a show. So,
Right.
but it's normally for someone that's in my audience or something along that line.
Yeah.
And they're like, I hate to be pushy, but no one else has let me talk to them. And that person is sitting on your show and I need to say something. So
Yeah.
a lot of times I really don't open, but every once in a while one sneaks his way through or her way through.
Yeah,
And
you kind of know when it needs to be done,
right,
and
right.
that's okay.
Yeah.
It's when you let it just kind of absorb you 24 hours a day, you're
Right.
definitely going to be fatigued by that.
Yeah. Yeah. And Nikki's saying she doesn't know how you do it at Mystic Fest all those weekends with all that energy in that place.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
it's wonderful, but it's also very tiring. So I was able today to not have to take clients today. So
Yeah.
it's to replenish myself. So that's always a good thing.
Yeah, for those who don't know or came on late, you literally just did Mystic Fest yesterday and the day before. This past weekend
Right.
is when we did it. So,
Mm-hmm.
I have a question that's being asked of you. Can you recommend any books to help manage the fatigue? Because it happens.
Gosh, what I would say is, first of all, like the books that I would suggest are ones that help you tune into your own body, because it's when people come in with fatigue, adrenal fatigue, usually it's because they're running on fight or flight, which is that solar plexus chakra. So I would get a book on just general chakra, and I would, make sure you're eating foods that are good for you, that give you energy and not deplete your energy. So processed foods will add to fatigue as well. Sugar will add to the fatigue. And understand what your body's telling you, because through energy work, our body is telling us messages all the time. So I have stacks of books. Cindy Dale has a lot of really great books on chakra and understanding your body with the chakras. She also has one on, I have that one here somewhere, on the different foods you can eat to balance your chakras as well. That's what I would work on, is learning how to tune into the messages your body's telling you. So there's another book called Metaphysical Anatomy. And if you're having a particular symptom, there's always an emotion attached to any kind of physical symptom. So sometimes if you can heal your emotions or identify what the emotion is and process it through, a lot of your symptoms will go away, including fatigue.
Okay. I have a two-parter for you from Zachy.
Sure.
First one, he's saying, does drinking spring water help with the stagnant energy and fatigue?
Okay. So I would say that good water does help. Absolutely. You need to hydrate your body. Your muscles need to be hydrated. I mean, you think about it, you have your skeleton system, you have your central nervous system, and you have all of your organs, right? And then you have your energetic system as well.
Right.
So all of those different systems running simultaneously, talking to each other, they need water. And the better water, I feel like I drink good water all day long. And when I'm reading, especially, I feel very thirsty because I utilize a lot of water just through the energy.
Yeah.
So I would say it's good spring water. A lot of people drink like the reversed osmosis water and things
Right.
like that. try to filter your water, keep all the contaminants out of it anyway.
So what's funny is that you bring up the RO water.
Mhm.
Nikki and I actually had an RO water system put in our house,
Yeah.
and it destroyed us.
Really?
It was terrible for both our guts.
Mhm.
And when we kind of read into it on some of the websites, some of the medical websites, they said I think they're taking out too much minerals from us, and
Yeah.
so it was beating us up. So we actually went just back to softened water and had to
Mhm.
take out the RO, and we're both fine now. So it's
Yeah, so minerals, that's a whole nother thing. And of course,
yeah,
I don't have I'm not educated on all that, but I do know that minerals in your water are really important.
right. Yeah, so
So
that's
you
why we
need
went back to
those.
the softened water, and because
Mhm.
that still leaves the minerals in there, but the RO is taking out too many of them,
Yep.
and it was tearing us up. So
Yeah,
yeah, so
that can be. So that's good on you for listening to your body, right?
yeah, yeah. And part two of Zachy, this is actually personal for you. Um, do you or would you ever visit metaphysical stores as a special guest, say about 2 hours from Omaha, the Columbus area, and offer your services to more rural Nebraska communities?
Yes, I so would do that. I actually have several rural Nebraska clients that travel up to see me on a regular basis, and have been asked that before as well, just looking for a place that I could actually provide services. So
Well, there you
if
go,
you,
Zachy. So, yep,
so reach out, I would be
yep.
happy to
If
do
you,
that.
oh well, look, that leaves a great segue too. If Zachy, do me a favor, go out to that site. And
Mhm.
out there is actually an email address that you can attach to
Yeah.
actually send her a message directly, so you can get a hold of her straight from going to her Internal Whispers website. She actually has a contact me type of link, so you can go out there and ask her questions.
Yeah.
Look at that segue, perfect.
Thank you.
So yeah, perfect. So he said he'll let his buddies know. So that sounds great. So Brian, how you doing, brother? What's going on? So yeah, and Kara is saying, thank you for talking about this. You mentioned many things I've experienced. I hope to learn more throughout my Reiki and spiritual journey. So
Yeah.
perfect. And yeah, and so it's really just simply going to the site. I'm like, okay, there's a lot of stuff on here to go through. But like I said, I'm a little mad. Nikki, I'm a little mad because um, June 11th, she's doing a tarot teaching for beginning tarot, and I'm missing it. So we're going to have to wait for the next one to come up. Just so
Yeah,
you know.
let's talk
Yeah.
about that tarot class, okay? Because one of the things that is my favorite fun things to do is just to read cards. And I feel like that was really a fun place to start to kind of get to know and trust my own intuition. And
Right.
I started with both like a tarot deck that I didn't really understand how to read tarot, but I would draw a card and then I would read the book. And then an oracle card, you could draw the card and then you read the author's book, right? So when I started learning how to actually read tarot, I'm kind of a maniac when it comes to learning stuff. I want to really understand it. And so one of the things I did is I went out and bought the original Rider-Waite tarot decks, and I bought 3 decks
Okay.
of the same of the cards. And I took a notebook and I took one card and I put it on there, and I would meditate on that one card each day, and I would not read the book. It would tell me about what it was about, and then I would journal about what I felt through that card. And then I would turn the card upside down with the other deck, and then I would get my impressions of what they would call reading it in reverse. And then I would compare my own connection to the card with what the traditional read of what the cards are.
Right.
And I did that with every single card in the tarot. And there are 78 cards in the deck, right?
Right.
And so they're broken out by majors and the minor in the decks. And so what I did was I overcomplicated everything to try to learn how to read these cards. So when I created my classes, I just broke it down into simplicity for people. Like, here's how you do it. this is this, and this is this, and help you just kind of get busy and start to read it. Because when you get a tarot deck and you try to use the books to learn how to read it, it's difficult, and you can play with it, but this just really, within 4 hours, you're going to be reading, and you're going to have a good understanding of why the majors are important, because tarot is really about a journey. It's a story. It's a story. It's about your life's journey, and it can be you're reading for, or someone else that you're reading for, but it's really telling a story about what's going on in their life. And really, it's just another way to read the energy around someone. And the cards sometimes can be creepy accurate, right?
Yeah. What is the difference between, and this is just my knowledge because I'm just that way, tarot and oracle cards? Does one have a more of a reading towards something else than the other one does?
So oracle is, you get it. You can take an oracle deck, and it's literally like oracle means seer, right? So it's giving you information about what you need to see. And so you can pull one card, or you can set the intentions for 3 cards, or however you want to use your oracle. It doesn't matter. There's no wrong way to do that either. And it doesn't matter what kind of deck you start with. I think you can start with both oracle or tarot, but I feel like it's easier to start with either like angel cards or oracle, because those, you can pick one card and it'll give you like a message that you might need for that day. Like, what is it in my highest interest that I need to know for today? And just pull one card and you get your message. And the authors of each of those decks have your reading. When you read those books, it's their perception of how they created that deck. But what I teach, whether I'm teaching how to read oracle cards, it doesn't matter what their perception is. It's, you need to tune in to see what it means to you, right? So we toss the books out when you come to my class. And we're going to learn how to trust what you get through the cards for you, because the art on the cards and will help you. And then, so oracle again is just like a message. Tarot is a journey. And so it's really talking about the things that have happened, things that are happening, and the possibilities, the avenues or the roads that you may choose to take through that journey. And then characters that join you on that journey, right? So the people in your lives, which show up as kings, queens, emperors, knights, and things like in the tarot.
That's I have a friend of mine, and she does tarot cards. And that's what she said. She goes, look, the books come with them as kind of a guide. And she goes, but I learned that it's my intuition and what I feel off of the cards.
It is
how I'm going to read them. So that's what she came up. Kara is asking, and I'm going to ask you both sides of this. Do you also teach or know how to learn more about crystals and using it in healing energy? And if you don't, who would you turn her to ask those questions to? So
okay, so that's a hard one. I have, if I turn my screen right now, you could see a whole shelf, and it's full of crystals. I love them. I think they're beautiful. I use quartz crystals a lot in my healing. I use a lot of different crystals that I feel like I spread through my room. Black tourmaline I use a lot for grounding and that kind of stuff. But I don't know a lot about crystals, and I know that there are several really good providers for crystals. Kelly Miller's got a big store. Where she's got a ton of crystals. I know there's another gal, Mama Moon Rocks. She has a big online store that she uses for crystals. I feel like I'm not just the crystals are great. Like, I can put some underneath my table when I'm with someone that I feel like I need to help absorb some stagnant energy or some extra energy. I can put a lot of quartz around my table, and I will use that. But I've not been someone that's relied upon the crystals. I use my hands mostly.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm just kind of fill in here, but for me, I have a tendency to use crystals to give to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have the ability to charge and give an intent to a crystal,
Yeah.
and hand it off to a person, and they can use it, because I have the ability to actually charge it, which is kind of unique. Apparently, I did not know that, but like again, thought everyone can do everything the same, learning that we can't. So yeah, for some reason my intuition will just tell me before I go to work or wherever I go, grab these 3 crystals, put them in your pocket. You don't need them, but throughout the day I end up giving them away because it just kind of happens, and someone will come up to me, and that happens.
I have dishes of rocks here too, and I do see some kids in my practice as well, and they love the rocks, and so I give away a lot of my rocks here too.
Yeah, I had to charge a bracelet for somebody who she sits with the people who are basically passing overnight, and they know they're going to pass. So she sits with them, so they have someone to sit with, and she makes them comfortable, and she reads to them, and she plays games with them, whatever they want to do. That's what she does on their last night. But she absorbs so much of their energy, and it was just making her so sick. And I did not know this. I had no clue she did this. And that day I put a bracelet on my wrist, and it was a lot of protection, and as well as like healing crystals that were on it. And I never wore that thing in my life. And for some reason, she came up to me. She had no idea what I did. This is when I was very new. And we talked. And I said, there must be a reason that you're coming to me to talk to me about this today, because let me tell you what I've just discovered about myself. So we started talking, and I grabbed my bracelet off me. I held it. And I knew she was working that night. And I go, take this tonight. I just charged it for you. Wear it. Let me know how you feel tomorrow. She came in the next morning. She goes, I don't know what you did. She said, I went through the same motions I always do. I helped the person. I played, I made sure they were comfortable. I brought them food. I did everything else. She goes, but I felt like a robot because I never got tired and I never felt sick. It was like a block that you gave me, but I was still able to help them without having to worry about myself because I felt perfect. She goes, how did you do that? I go, I don't know. I just knew you needed this more than I did. And she goes, well, here's your bracelet at. And I go, well, this is your bracelet. It was meant for you, apparently, because it worked. And she goes, well, what do I do with it? I go, so I taught her how to cleanse and charge it. And she said she uses it for every time now, and it does the exact same thing. So
what a cool story. I love that.
She's been able to help without getting drained herself now. And she feels much better.
Yeah. I know that crystals can do that. They can absorb a lot of our energy that's, that we don't need. So.
Right. Jason. Stuart is asking, how do you feel about runes?
I don't know anything about runes.
Yeah. I had on Wayne Brecky, who is normally he's at Mystic Fest with you guys.
Yeah, he's crazy.
And he just opened up his own store. But he still does a lot of the readings and stuff like that when he's doing the readings and everything else at the Awakening store. He's still, is he Awakenings? I think so. But when he goes over and does the other work, but he has his own store now, and he's a crack up. But he's someone who works strictly in runes. So, Stuart, if you're interested in runes or folks that do runes, let me know, and I'll put you in touch with Wayne.
Yeah, Wayne's the guy for that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a
character too.
He's hilarious too. Yeah. So he is fantastic. And Kara is saying, "Yep." She said, "I've had some given to me too when needed." So she'll do the same. Absolutely. I believe that returning the favor, if it's something that and like I said, for me, it's really subconscious. A lot of the stuff I still do is subconscious. It's just my spirit guides or something else. Oh, thanks, Nikki. That's what I was wondering. He's next millennium.
Yeah.
But that's what I was wondering though, was like, for me, I don't know, it's my spirit guides, whatever it is that's guiding me to, hey, make sure you grab these on the way out, or it's just my own knowing that it's going to have to happen that time or what. But it always happens to when I grab them, I never bring them home. so there's definitely someone telling me the right thing, that you need these for a reason.
That's cool.
Yeah. And Nikki says she only gives to the kids who have talked to her about the crystals and have been open about them. So she will give them, because she's a teacher, but there's a lot of kids who will come up and to her because she has them on her desk, to help walk the energy and stuff like that, because she can take in a lot of their anxiety and everything else. So she has them set up kind of as her own grid and stuff like that to help her keep her grounded and protected. But the kids will come up and ask her, "Hey, what are these for? What is this? What is this?" And they're very intrigued.
Kids love rocks,
right? Absolutely, especially if they're shiny and cool shapes.
Absolutely. Well, even street rocks. I'm constantly picking up rocks. My washing machine's full of them all the time.
Well, that's funny too, because we had some rocks out here. We had some concrete that just got poured in our backyard, but we had to look beforehand. We had some rocks, and I'm like picking up some of them, and I'm looking to see if I can see the inside to see what they look like. Kind of a cool one. So
right.
So yeah. Well, yeah, it's just kind of funny how that happens. Question for you.
Yes.
This is from me. Oops. I gotta say bye to Stuart, because Stuart's at work. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you coming out and watching. We're gonna be here every week like normal. Reach out to me. Oh, and by the way, I know I don't respond a lot, but thank you very much for what you send me. I do appreciate all the little things you send me that you send directly to me. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. He normally sends me like little funnies online or whatever else. So I appreciate it because it makes my morning or whatever else when I get them. But question for you when you're working, and especially it kept reminding me because it's sitting right over your shoulder. Is there, how's the best way to phrase this? Is there one chakra that's harder to work with than another? Or is it just dependent on the situation? Like I know some people have, their throat chakra shy because of whatever, or is closed because of whatever reason. They're shy or whatever else. They don't want to speak their piece. They don't want to speak their mind, even though they should speak out more. Some people like me have a horrible heart chakra and a horrible root chakra that I got to work on, because they're not. I don't think that's true. Because they're not. Well, they're not very open. So, but I just didn't know if it was just a general one's harder to work with or another, or it's really person dependent.
It really depends a lot on the person. I think, we all have work to do on each of our chakras. I feel like if we didn't, then, we would have ascended already. Right. But I feel like the sacral chakra is a tough one for a lot of people. We carry a lot of shame in our sacral chakra. And I feel like depending on people's life situations, the heart chakra can be one where I feel they feel like it's more blocked or what have you. But I don't ever feel like we have a fully blocked chakra or you wouldn't be alive. It's a stagnant energy that gets stuck, or we put guards up to our chakras because we're very protective of ourselves and we don't want to be hurt. So usually once someone has seen me at least one time, they're more open to allowing me to get deep into their energy and really help them move some of the things out of there. And they start to release things that they've been storing. Like I said, when I go start moving across the top of someone's body, I can feel the emotions, number one, through the energy. And I feel like the one I have to work on the most for people is people aren't grounded. So, right. It's like,
I get yelled at all the time for that.
I'm going to go back to that whole thing before I even begin getting everyone grounded first, because I'm going to tell you that I feel like the more grounded you are, the deeper your connection to the earth energy is, into this incarnation that you're here. You chose to come into this world to be here. So the deeper the connection you have to your incarnation here and your life here, and the more rooted you are here, then I feel like the higher you can go and deeper you can go into your meditations.
Yeah. So, yeah. I know that, I so I have gone and seen a Reiki person here.
Mhm.
That Nikki has also gone and see. So that just answers Zacky's question right there. Zaki said, you may have said this to start, but have you had Reiki done? But we have gone to the same person, and I've only gone to her a couple of times, but Nikki goes to her on the regular for the most part. But every time I go, she goes, man, you really need to ground yourself better. You're terrible about grounding yourself. And I know I do. Oh look, Kim's popping in. Hi Kim. Kim was there as well as Mystic Fest, so
Uh-huh.
he was over there as well. But and she's saying she's agreed. But with what you just said about the grounding, but yeah, I'm terrible about it, and I know that, which is weird because I feel that I have such a strong connections with elementals.
Mhm.
Uh,
They're in the astral level.
extremely strong connection.
They
Like I people know that I can see, hear, and talk to them just like I am you right now. And we have conversations on a daily basis if I see them or hear them, or they just want to talk. And it's very interesting that I have such a weak grounding, but I have that ability to reach out to the elementals and they can reach
Well,
out to me.
that totally makes sense, actually. That totally makes sense because the elementals are going to be in the astral layer,
Okay.
and that's that floaty part of your field, right? And that's the part of your field where you're going to be. You know how you have you ever like started to doze off and then snap back into your body?
Yep.
That's the level that the elementals are hanging out at, right?
Okay.
So it's at that level, right? So you don't really need to be grounded to be able to communicate in that level. What I'm talking about is, imagine, Tom, if you were seriously grounded on a daily basis, the level of communication that you could have with your higher self and other planes of existence based on that grounding. The deeper the connection, then the higher I feel, and the deeper the connection you can have to other dimensional energies.
So I will share with you that Saturday, I had I stopped because I felt the energy of the lady that was there. She was an astrologist, and I'm going to actually try to have her on my show.
Uh-huh.
And she was like, "Wow!" She actually asked me to sit down next to her, and we kind of did an instantaneous go through right there. And she was like, "Oh my goodness!" She goes, "You don't understand." She goes, "Your guide." She was your spiritual guides are the spiritual guides to the spiritual guides. She goes, "Yours are way up there." And she goes, "Your problem is you don't work enough on yourself."
Mhm.
And she said, "If you worked on yourself, you would be unstoppable." She's
Yep.
like, she goes, "It's amazing." And she goes, "But you don't." And I'm like, "Oh, absolutely not." And she goes, "You need to fix that." I'm like, I understand that. And so I'm like, so I guess I'm gonna have to start like literally taking my phone and typing in a space of time for me to just do me. So
Yeah.
because I take on a lot of other things besides me.
Mhm.
And that's just I always say that's what I'm built for. I'm built to help others. But
Right.
I'm told I need to take care of myself to continue to help others in the
You
level
can't,
that I need to.
right. That
So,
old cliche, you can't pour from an empty cup. And if you're not,
exactly. So this is a Zhang. This is my wonderful friend who I call my sister, who when you heard me say all the time zones, this is my Indonesian time zone friend. So
hello.
so yes. So I'm glad you're able to make it. And Rosie, yes, I know, take care of myself first.
Mhm.
I have not started to do that yet, but I guess starting this week I am, since Nikki and I are actually going to, even though I've been to 48 different countries in the world, we are going to my absolute favorite place, which is I'm going to Tahoe because to me it is unbelievably peaceful. The large trees, the redwood trees, the calm lakes. That is my favorite place to go because I am just so at peace there. And that's where we're going actually this week for vacation. But Nikki is saying yes right now. I am taking care of her. And I explained to you why earlier. For those people who don't know, Nikki went ahead and dislocated her shoulder yesterday. So so she is doing better, but she was injured yesterday and she's on the mend. But we are all good right now. So if you want to send healing love, Thank you. She would appreciate it. And yes, I agree, Kara. She's saying nature is the best medicine. I absolutely agree with that. I am a totally different person when I'm outside in nature than I am at work or indoors or something along that lines. And I don't know why, but I very much resonate with the outdoors. So yes, totally different life for me. My everything drops. My pressure drops. My cares drop.
Yeah.
Everything drops when I'm in nature.
You have to take time to do that, Tom.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
You
think
can get grounded just by being outdoors for a while, you know.
Oh yeah.
You don't have to sit on a pillow to get yourself grounded. You can do that in other ways. You can do it by washing dishes, but it's setting the intention that you're actually taking the time to ground your energy.
Yeah. And we have tried to make it a point. Nikki and I have tried to make it a point since we don't know if you knew this, but we recently moved to a lake with a beautiful view and everything else. And we try to make it a point to go outside at least for a few minutes at night, just to sit there and just wind down and just kind of get into that zone before we go to sleep. So it's very nice.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
That's a great way to do it.
Something we're trying to do now is kind of wind ourselves down at the end of the day. She's doing much better now since she's not teaching right now. She's on her summer break.
Yes.
So her stress level is already dropped quite a bit compared to what it was when she came home every day. So,
right.
But yeah, so it's been interesting trying to put myself right. Mm-hmm. And then and I'm getting the message more and more that I need to start taking care of myself, as you have told me and if others have told me, because before it was sporadic. Before it was like once every couple of months, someone's like, oh yeah, you need to take care of yourself. Now I've heard it like 12 times in 2 days. So the message is coming much more rapid because apparently I'm not getting the message by listening to it once every 2 months.
Right. That's like going to the gym every 3 months thinking you're going to build muscles.
Right. Yep. Exactly. Yeah, that's like me when I sleep. I get about a full night's sleep about every 6 months. Just doesn't seem to catch up.
It will catch up with you.
Well, and so some people know that because of my military days, I literally sleep 3 to 4 hours a night, and I run perfectly fine on that for about 6 months.
Yeah.
And then when I hit that 6-month point, I sleep for like 10 hours.
Yeah.
And then it starts all over again. So
well, if that's how your body adjusts to it, and you can listen to your body, then
right. Yeah. And you're right, Rosie. Men don't listen. I know. I agree. I'm bullheaded. I'm a man. 8 older sisters. I've heard that my entire life. Well, and actually I did listen to them when they said it. I just didn't agree with them at the time. So, but yeah. So, well, I think we're kind of at a good place to wrap it up for tonight.
Sounds good.
I want to share the link with everybody again. Mm-hmm. And for anybody who is watching live, anybody who is going to watch this recorded, if you come on late or you just kind of just fast forward through some stuff, this link I put at the very beginning in the comment sections. So anyone can find her. You have no excuse not to be able to go to find Susanne. And again, if you are coming on late or you haven't heard, Susanne is right now, she does everything. She's located right by me in Omaha, Nebraska. But during the fall, she is looking to expand out to be doing stuff online. So everyone will be able to contact her through Zoom or something else to share in her classes and her teachings and everything else. And they are fantastic. I'm really looking forward to them and actually getting there. Thank you very much, Rosie. I appreciate it. She's saying thank you. It was a great show.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for being here.
Yeah. Nicole saying the same thing. She was finally so excited to finally have you on. And I was too. I mean, I hounded you pretty hard to get you on here.
Yeah,
so I appreciate you coming on, finally giving in. And it was a great show. Do me a favor. Don't run away right away when I put you backstage, because I'd love to talk to you afterwards. But go ahead and let me close the show down, and I will be right with you in a second. So thank you very much,
everyone.
I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you in a second. Okay, everyone, that's my show. Thank you for coming on. As always, you guys were fantastic. This is why I call you my family. I know this show could not run without you and with my guests. I am literally only here to say hello, and to say goodbye. You're the ones who all make it happen. So making it happen, slower and in English. So thank you for once again coming on here. We do have a show next Monday. Nikki and I will be back from our short break on a vacation. And next week, I'm just started calling him Hawaiian Joe. But everyone knows him. He comes in here and talks all the time, but somehow he's not here tonight. But he will be here next Monday, 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern. Y'all know the time frames because I mention them every time when I start up. Please come back and enjoy the show next Monday. Like, follow, share, as always, because I'd love to grow the community even more, because this community is not for me. This community is for you, because this is why we do it, is so everybody can learn from each other. It's a huge benefit for us to come on here and to listen to each other and take care of each other. I learn everything. I learn so much more every single time I do a show, and it just allows us to continue to grow and to share each other. So, again, have a great week. Stay safe, and I will see you in a week. Much love.